We opened the shop in May 2000, and it took me a year prior to that to write the business plan. And I'd never written a business plan before, and I was told by various people who'd written lots of business plans that I needed to know the market share of shoes in the world, the market share of shoes in Edinburgh, market share of shoes in London, and I didn't have a clue about any of those things. All I knew was what I wanted to sell shoes at, and that I could work out what I therefore needed to buy them at. So I wrote the plan. I'd been in retail, so I understood about retail, I understood about shops, and I took it to the Royal Bank of Scotland, tied up in a purple ribbon, having taken me a year to write it, and they gave me the money. And the bank manager still has the original plan with the purple ribbon to this day, and she's still my bank manager. We have had on the shelves 28 collections. Collection 29 was actually designed, we took it to sample, and then I made the decision not to go into production. So technically 29 collections. They've been very different, you know, where we started to where we are now. It's a very different place. It's always been about colour, and it's always been about a sense of extravagance in terms of fabric, but not desperately directional in terms of shape. The interesting thing about colour is that it is what we're famous for, and I absolutely love it. I love working with it, colour and material. I never actually wear it myself, and we sell more coloured shoes than we do black or navy, although we sell plenty of those too. And during the recession in particular, we sold almost no black or navy shoes at all. People literally came into us for that treat, for that cheer up, for the colour. Women quite often get very hot when they're trying on shoes. And I think it's a sort of hormone that's kind of unleashing itself, so they're really excited to be trying on something new, something different, something shiny. And I also think that it's the one bit of you where your body doesn't change all the time. So you can get fatter, you can get thinner, but your feet on the whole stay the same. And so you can express yourself in other ways through your feet. I think the critical thing about the brand, the really unique thing about the brand, is the loyalty club feel of it. And it's very definitely a triangle between the customers, the people who work here at Helen Bateman, and the suppliers. And everybody is very loyal to each other. The customers constantly come back. They know that when they come through the door, they're being hosted correctly, they're being looked after properly. It's almost as if the only thing that's missing is the coffee pot. And sometimes they literally just come in for a chat. It's the same with the suppliers, you know, that loyalty from the suppliers who've bent over backwards to help us and support us and do things that we want to do even when it's very difficult. My team are absolutely fantastic. They love everybody, look after everybody, whether it's on the telephone, by email, online, or through the store. It makes no difference to them. Everybody's loved and looked after.
I was a manager in branch in the bank, and I was also a trainer. Customer service was paramount when I was training, so I was trying to get everyone else to just deliver that customer service, which is, it just comes so naturally in here. We just love our customers, and it's just lovely to be able to deliver that. I just absolutely love it, and all the people I work with, I just love it. It's more like a hobby than a job. We're definitely full friends here.
Well, I was always a customer of Helen Bateman's, and came to a point in my life I was looking for a new direction. I was a hairdresser, wanted a new direction in my life. Was walking along William Street as I was coming along to Helen Bateman, and saw that they had a sign in the window for a Saturday girl, and I thought, yeah, great, okay. So applied for that, got that, and then 8.5 years later, here I am, the manager and running the online business. Customer skills was always really important in my job, and that's what I've so enjoyed here. I always like people when they come into the shop to feel like they're coming into my home and I'm looking after them.
Achieving the perfect fit for the customers, whether it's in-store or online, essentially is the same thing. We have to look after them in both places. Clearly it's easier in store because we've got them in front of us and we can keep working away until we get the shoes that fit them at the right size, the right. Online is more difficult because we don't have them in front of us and we don't have their feet in front of us, but we do try very hard to always check their history to make sure what they've had before. We can usually figure out if they've had this particular last that they need to go up a size or down a half size in another last. And if we're unsure, on the whole, we've always attempted to ring them, particularly if it's a new customer, just to make sure that we're looking after them as well as we can, both on the phone, by email, as we do in the shop. And I think that a lot of web businesses, the problem is you never speak to anybody. In our business, we attempt to speak to everybody. Many of you have met Alfie or seen him on the soles of our shoes or as buttons on our bags. He is our brand ambassador. He became our blog button on the website. It happened because the lady who was doing our PR at the time, Julianne, who's a great friend and has been working with me for many years, asked me to go and find a kitten and stick it in a kitten heel, and she said I can sell that all over the world. And I have to confess that I don't really like cats, and I didn't have a kitten, and I did have Alfie. So I plonked him in front of a shoe and took a picture of him and sent it to her and popped it onto Facebook, and people immediately started asking him questions. And Alfie from that moment on became a star in his own right. He even has his own page on our website. I absolutely love him. Our customers have always been incredibly loyal, but also very forgiving. You know, we do make mistakes. We do sometimes send out a 37.5 with a 37 because we didn't check the box properly. We try not to, but sometimes it happens. And they are always pretty much charming about it. They just pick up the phone and they go, oops, we go, oops. I think always backfooting it, you know, it's our fault, is why that they've always been so forgiving and why they always come back. They are so loyal. We've been so lucky.
I just want to say that I love Helen Bateman and I love her shoes, and I have several pairs. I don't want to say how many because you might think I'm a shoe weirdo, but I am. Anyway, I'm very sad, and I was so looking forward to spring to see what new creations Helen would have. So I know the West End will miss Helen, and I'll miss her, and all my friends back home will miss the pictures I take of my lovely shoes. So farewell, Helen. We wish you the best.
Obviously, closing Helen Bateman is a very sad thing, but it's obviously also quite an exciting thing for me. At 15 years, the shop is a little bit like an extension of my home. The things that have been stashed down here all that time have been quite extraordinary, and clearing it out has been fascinating. But, you know, it's now or never. 5 years ago, I probably wouldn't have had the courage to make the jump. And in 5 years' time, I probably wouldn't have the courage to make the jump. So now's the time. And I'm 50 this year. And so it's time to explore new projects, other ideas, and maybe I'll just travel for a while.